There we go. Now you should hear me. What's up, guys? I'm meteorologist Andrea Myers, coming at you from a little bit of a different format here today. We're coming live from the desk to talk to you guys about our severe weather risks. So before we get into all of that, another big thanks to our sponsors, C3 Group, Merlin Law Group, American Contractor, and Atlas. They make these videos possible, so we want to give them another big thanks for all of that. So let's just get into our weather today. It's been a little busy. Late forecast just because there's a ton going on right now. There is active severe weather going on through the southeast and kind of working its way back towards DFW. You guys have been in the conversation for the past few days and you're still in it today. So talking pretty much from DFW all the way out to the East Coast today. We're in a more active pattern right now. So it's just been very busy this week compared to, especially to last week when we had a lot of quiet weather. We're in a whole different swing of things right now. So getting into all of that, and then at the end of the show here and mixing it up, we're gonna talk about our 3-star maps from yesterday. There was one in Oklahoma and one in Texas. So if you guys are watching live, stay tuned for that at the end. And if you're not watching live, if you're watching after, just scrub to the end of the video if you guys want to see our 3-star map recaps. So really quick, come see us tomorrow. We're going to be at the NTRCA Not So Many Trade Show. It is going to be, let's see, at the Hilton DFW Lakes Executive Conference Center in Grapevine, Texas. So you guys can come say hello to Brandon. He's going to have a booth there at that show. All right, so now getting into our current conditions, guys. We do already have a severe thunderstorm watch in effect for the Texas, Arkansas, and Louisiana area. Texarkana, you do have some severe thunderstorms moving into the area right now. There is a tornado warning. That is that little red box here. And then we got another severe thunderstorm warning to the south of it. So if you guys are in that warning, time to get indoors, stay down, wait for that to pass. And there will unfortunately be more through the southern corridor of Arkansas here where we're already seeing some development. So stay tuned for that through that area. Then we got another severe thunderstorm watch here through Mississippi. That's going to be for large hail, high winds, and possible tornadoes. And then more tornadoes, and they've already been ongoing right now. You can see a couple of them. This whole area here through Georgia has all those warnings right now. And those are continuing to produce tornadoes. There have already been some tubes that have hit the ground today. And so we're going to continue to see that through specifically Alabama. So if you guys are in Birmingham to Montgomery to Dothan, you guys are kind of in the bullseye for those tornadoes, unfortunately, today. So watching all that. That's kind of our current setup right now. And, you know, we've got this low pressure system here. You can see that kind of spinning up through New England. And we will also have some severe storms possible along the front of that if you guys are in that area. So stay tuned. Can't really go over it too much just because there's so much happening in the southeast. But some marginally severe hail as well as strong winds are possible through that area in the northeast. Check out those temperatures. 92 degrees in Houston, 91 in Miami, so nice and warm down south. We got the instability, we got the heating to produce that severe weather. And up through the New England states, we do have cooler weather in the 60s to 70s in some areas. And so that cold front there that's kind of sinking slowly down through the southeast, that's what's helping spark those storms. So now, compared to last week, now we have the energy coupled with the forcing from those large-scale systems driving through, and that'll get us those severe storms for today. So check out that instability. Speaking of, again, everything kind of drives in from the Gulf there, and then it just moves onshore with that heat, with that moisture, and drives all that instability. And there you go. I mean, we're maxing out our values there all the way from pretty much Dallas through Dothan into Macon, Georgia. You got super high instability values by around 4 p.m. and that is when we'll see a potential for large hail as well as tornadoes. Then 7 p.m., things should be transitioning more into a wind threat with a lingering tornado threat through the southeast. And, you know, we still have crazy high instability through the Mississippi Valley. See that disappear overnight and then pops back up for tomorrow for another round of severe weather. So, and then here's our significant tornado parameter. So Cape More, we gear it more towards hail, you know, helps us see how large the hail size potential is. Significant tornado parameter kind of tells us, are we getting supercells? Are we getting that rotation in the atmosphere to potentially produce tornadoes? And again, unfortunately, I think meteorologists, roofers, residents alike, none of us want to see those tornadoes. And that is unfortunately on the board for today with our tornado parameter. So again, specifically watching this corridor near Montgomery and Dothan. That's where we've already had some activity into today. Expected to see multiple waves of that moving through. And so, you know, it's possible that we'll get some, unfortunately, possibly long track tornadoes through there. So definitely a good day to be tuned to your weather. So there it goes by 7. Now we're going to, again, be transitioning more towards that linear mode, so strong winds possible, as well as tornadoes with this, and then going to see that sink down through the southeast tonight. Quick sidebar, your all's questions pop up on the computer over here, so I can't see them right away. If you guys do have questions, drop them in the comments, and I'll try to go through and answer those after the forecast for you guys if you have any. So now getting into what everything looks like on our future radar. Dallas, I know you guys are probably wondering, will we get some hail? It's possible for today. It's looking like everything's going to kind of develop along this line, so kind of cutting right between Fort Worth and Dallas itself. And you know how storms are. I mean, if you guys have been with us long enough, you know you tend to see them kind of pop up and then drive a little further east as they intensify and then drop that big hail. So I'm not super convinced about Dallas's large hail threat into today, just looking at how east these storms set up. But it is possible for you guys that you can get some hail with that. So stay tuned. And then, you know, if you guys are in southeastern Oklahoma, southern Arkansas, you're going to be starting to see that chance for hail and wind pick up by around 5 p.m. And there is a smaller tornado threat for the Mississippi Valley. We're mostly focused on the southeast for that. So anyway, those Dallas storms are going to kind of sink down to the southeast. Then they get going, as we tend to see. And you get those supercells developing here in southeast Texas, just south of like Tyler Longview. And there is a chance, again, for large hail and tornadoes on those as those develop and track off to the east. And we're still going in southern Arkansas. So let's talk a little bit about the southeast now, because again, this is kind of the crux of where things are going to be happening. Again, already ongoing. We saw that. Not expected to slow down any into this afternoon. So here we are by 1 p.m. Got this complex moving through, and I mean, that's like right now, and that's pretty consistent with what we just saw. So those are going to continue to drive southeastward. Here we are by 4. And so here's kind of the thing that we're looking at for Montgomery and Dothan is we consistently see these cells popping up on our forecast radars and with the amount of wind shear. So again, that's just the increase in speed and the change in direction with the wind at height. So basically it causes the wind to kind of spin. And with that amount of wind shear that we're seeing in Alabama, in Mississippi, in Georgia, as well as those singular storm modes, there is a potential that we could see very destructive supercells with the potential to get those damaging tornadoes as well as large hail. So we're really watching for that into today through the southeast. You guys are no strangers to this kind of weather, unfortunately. So another round of that today. Then by 6 p.m., here we go with that linear mode. So drawing on here just because I can't, point, but we get a couple of lines that develop through the southeast. And now with those linear storms, we tend to see more of a wind threat. So watching that through Jackson now, through Georgia and parts of Alabama, this could really kind of get cranking, specifically that complex that goes from Jackson down into Tallahassee. There is a possibility that we could see some really high winds on that. Here they are. Watch that little purple swath in the northern part of Louisiana, okay? That's when storms kind of develop by around 5 p.m. And then watch that develop as it tracks through Jackson. We're seeing a better probability of seeing 50-mile-an-hour winds upwards So not super great. Secure those trash cans if it's your trash day, or any outdoor furniture. This could definitely kind of get ripping as it heads towards Jacksonville, Florida, with those high winds once these storms do become linear. And then going back to hail, it's a possibility that we could see baseball-sized hail today. Think it's probably geared more towards tornadoes. That's already what we've been seeing. We've been seeing a lot of golf balls and tornadoes this morning. So I'm expecting that trend to kind of continue, but we could potentially see some hail increasing in size as we increase that daytime heating into the afternoon. So watching that specifically from Texas, because it's Texas and it does Texas things. So watching that from Texas out into Mississippi, Alabama area, DFW, again, it's like a low to moderate for you guys. It just really depends on where those storms shift. It's kind of been the story for your risks for the past few days, but it looks like it's developing right kind of on the eastern side of Dallas, tracking out. So we'll see if you can get that large hail for you. Shreveport and Jackson, you got multiple waves of supercells heading over you guys with that potential to produce large hail just due to the atmosphere out there. So best risk for Shreveport and Jackson for large hail today. But if you're in Birmingham, Montgomery specifically, you will also have multiple waves of storms passing over. And though it looks more geared toward tornadoes, or for tornadoes right now, there is also that potential that you could get large hail with any of those cells, 2 to 2.5 inch in the forecast right now. Then moderate chance for Atlanta, Macon, and Savannah to potentially see that large hail as well. Columbia and Jacksonville, you guys are kind of on the outer edges of today's risk. For wind, looking again with the highest winds being where we see that band tracking. It's starting up near northern Louisiana, tracking through Jackson and down into the Florida Panhandle. So going city specific here, we've got pretty much everywhere west of Shreveport, seeing a low end chance. So Tulsa, DFW, Waco, low end chance to see high winds with that because it's going to be pretty singular with those storms. But then once we move a little further east into, again, Mississippi through Alabama through Georgia, that's when we start to see more linear storms and a better chance at getting high winds. So higher end chance for Jackson, high end chance for Montgomery, Dothan, Columbia, Georgia, maybe even down into Tallahassee to see strong winds there. So then tornadoes, that's what's been very prevalent into this morning. So going into that, DFW into Little Rock, you got a chance to see some. Again, with the wind forecast, it's going to be on the lower end just because things are more isolated heading over you guys. But really kind of starting in like this corridor through southern Arkansas, northeastern Louisiana, tracking through the southeast, that's really where our risk picks up today. And you could potentially see more funnels, potential touchdowns, and then moving into Jackson, Montgomery, really Montgomery to Dothan, right, again, is kind of where we're watching for the heaviest storms into this afternoon. But Birmingham, Savannah, you guys are not out of the risk, as well as Atlanta and Jacksonville. You're on the low end, but you're still in it for today. So basically, if you guys are in any of those cities today, or for today, into the overnight, it's going to be a long period of multiple waves of storms, so turn on those weather alerts is all I can tell you, and stay tuned to our pages. We'll try to update you guys accordingly. And then if you're in any of these cities listed, Montgomery, Dothan, Macon, Jackson, Birmingham, Shreveport, those are your tornado chances for today. So stay tuned, turn on those alerts for today. For your tomorrow, so for the next 48 hours, here we go into the southeast. We'll have the remnants of that system passing through. So around 11, you'll start to see that band moving out of Jacksonville, and then kind of another wave coming in behind it through the Tallahassee and Mobile area. That will carry a hail and wind threat. So watching that into tomorrow. And then we'll see that pass through, and then just some scattered storms here and there for the rest of the evening into the overnight before we get the storms that are developing in the plains kind of starting to scoot back into the southeast. Then for the plains, could potentially see some large hail through there into tomorrow as well, kind of shifting back towards the high plains here. There you go with your storm development by around 5 p.m. And really, again, watching these storms near the eastern Texas Panhandle moving into the Oklahoma border. You get those singular storms forming in that high cape environment, you can tend to see some large hail with those. And then they track off to the east, and we have more potentially developing down near Dallas. The atmosphere is good. You got some forcing, but some of the models are just not showing storms popping out near Dallas, so we're going to have to watch that a little bit more into tomorrow to see if that does in fact verify. But for right now, we've pretty consistently seen stuff popping up and developing through that environment in Colorado through Oklahoma, tracking off to the east through the overnight, and then, like we said before, moving into the southeast for the next day. So for your hail forecast for tomorrow, large hail possible through the central plains, and then again, it'll be the remnants of today's systems through the southeast. So best chance for storms is going to be through like Dodge City, Woodward, maybe even the Lawton area for Oklahoma where those storms are developing initially, and then hail size comes down as storms move towards a linear mode. Oklahoma City, you might see some small hail, maybe a couple quarters, and some wind, heavy rain passing through for your Thursday night into Friday. In Dallas-Fort Worth, keeping you on the low end for right now because, again, it's not consistent whether storms will develop in that area right now. Then down into the southeast, Mobile, Tallahassee, you guys have a moderate chance of seeing some ping pong to golf ball sized stones, maybe with the isolated storms that come off of today's system. And then Jacksonville, Montgomery, low end chance for you guys. These risks both also apply for wind. So we'll see a wind threat as well as a smaller tornado threat for tomorrow. Today is really going to be the tornado day, already has been. So let's talk about the upcoming pattern, and then we'll get into our 3-star maps, and then we're done. But for the upcoming few days, again, if you guys remember last week, it was like really quiet, just kind of those popcorn, heat-induced storms. This week is different. So we've got this first low pressure system that's just kind of chilling in the northeast, and that's going to continue to kind of linger there. There we are by noon, or I'm sorry, I guess that's midnight on Friday. And then that's going to kind of try to shift off to the east by your Saturday, lingering there. But then I'm watching this into Saturday because that's going to come down into the southern plains there. And with that, we could potentially see some storms just based on this little wiggle here that's forming. So storms through the southern plains by noon from that forcing on Saturday. Then that little wiggle is going to continue to kind of strengthen and develop. And now we can see it really coming off of the main jet stream there, heading into the Mississippi Valley and the Ohio Valley by our Sunday afternoon. So there that goes. And then potentially more on Monday. It will be weakening, but then we have this guy to watch as that heads eastward into the central plains. Will it get stuck over the Rocky Mountains again like the last one did, or will it move eastward into the plains? We'll have to wait and see. Again, the further out the forecast goes, the more uncertainty there is in it, and that's just the nature of forecasting. But we're watching this pattern into the next week because it's looking much more progressive than we have been seeing. So now into the forecast radar. Again, it's low res, but here's what we got by Friday. We got this line of storms kind of developing through Kansas and then the Mississippi Valley there, and some of those could potentially be severe into your Friday evening. Then this complex tracking, again, off to the east by your Saturday afternoon, tracking eastward, and then we'll see another one coming off through the Mississippi Valley and southeast for Sunday with a potential for some severe weather there. So a few shots here. Here's what they're going to look like on our look ahead. We've got Friday, and then I think it's going to cut me off, unfortunately, but I'll just kind of draw them on here. For your Friday, here's what we've got, pretty much from the Central Plains all the way down to the southeast. And then, like I said, my graphic cuts off, so I got to circle them for you. Bear with me. But for your Saturday, we'll see a risk through here with that complex that we saw tracking through. And then that's just going to shift off to the east on Sunday, and then we'll have this risk area for Sunday pretty much. So if you guys are in southeastern Missouri all the way into northern Alabama, you guys have a risk this weekend. Central Plains for your Friday into Saturday. So we've got a few areas in the risk for the coming days. So watching all that, now let's talk about yesterday, and then we'll get you guys going on with your day. But yesterday, we did have a decent amount of hail across the nation there, and a lot of stuff going on through the southeast with wind and hail reports. But most notably, it's Texas. Through the northwest Texas panhandle, there was a storm that was steaming along, producing really large hail. You can see that string of reports there coming through the panhandle area. And with those, we were getting like large hail headed right towards 35, and then it fizzled out before it could get there. And then down into DFW, if you guys were with us last afternoon, we saw the live coverage from this band of storms that tracked off to the east. And those produced some pretty large hail. We'll talk about the 3-star map here in a second. But then we got our second round of storms that developed to the west of 35. They split, and then they didn't even make it close to Dallas or Waco, so they didn't get impacted from that system. But still a solid amount of hail for Texas into yesterday. So here is your 3-star. For the folks in Tyler, you got some pretty large hail, and Dallas particularly got hit with quite a bit, and a lot of structures in Dallas, so made that a 3-star map. Max size was over near Tyler with that 3.5-inch hail. For this swath just to the west of Dallas here, this did very isolated 2 inches, and we saw some golf balls with that as well. And then it ramped back up as it was moving through Dallas itself, and then out towards Mesquite is really where it kind of got going, started producing that 2-inch hail, and 2 plus as it continued to track off to the east. So got some large hail out of that. Little 3-star map for you. Mesquite, Red Oak, Tyler, Texas is the name. And 366,000 homes impacted from that. So if you guys want to access that, you can scan that QR code there or click the link in our description, and you can get access to that product. Or if you already signed up for Hail Trace, just go ahead and check out that map. Then last, getting into the Oklahoma 3-star. This one had some scattered hail through the Red River area, some isolated quarters near Idabel, and then golf balls down to the southwest of Durant. But most notably, Tulsa did get hit, got some quarters to $50, and then right before it got to Broken Arrow, started producing some very isolated golf balls through there as well. So that most of the homes impacted from this map came out of that one Tulsa swath. Total of 41,000 homes, and then some got impacted from all of those different hail swaths into yesterday. Max size on those was 2 inches, and if you want access, it is Tulsa, Colbert, Idabel, Oklahoma, and you can go ahead and find that there. So that's what we have today. Thank you guys for sticking with us, and we'll be letting you know what happens this afternoon. We're already busy back there mapping and working on monitoring these storms. So if you guys want the most up-to-date information, follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. You can hit See First on Facebook so you never miss a live video. Smash that subscribe button everywhere else. And then you can contact us at the following, 855-334-4245 if you want to call. If you'd rather email, it's info@hailtrace.com, or check out hailtrace.com for more details. Thank you guys again. Stay safe if you're in any of those risk areas. And for now, I'm meteorologist Andrea Myers. Thanks for watching.